All right, we're back to do the last two examples of guided note C, difficult trinomials. All right, two more examples to cover on that. And I'll warn you that the example 4 has a greatest common factor first. Okay. All right, here's example 3. All right, you should always write the letters down until you've memorized it. My father drives a red motorcycle. All right. Now, my father is 89 years old. You would never catch him on a red motorcycle. He's way too old. I'm worried about him driving cars now, but he's still okay there, but I would never trust him on a motorcycle. All right. So the first letter, M, means take the 9 off and multiply it by the number on the end. That is 144. Okay. Now factor, that's use the X. You're going to put 144 on the top and negative 24 on the bottom. There's lots of numbers to multiply by 144, but hopefully you said, isn't 144 a perfect square? That means, doesn't 12 times 12 give you 144? 12 times 12. Is there any way that 12 and 12 can add together to give you negative 24? The answer is yes, if you make them both negative. Is negative 12 times negative 12, is that 144? Yep. If you add them together, do you get negative 24? Yep. Those are your two numbers. Now, what do you do with them? You write it like this. X minus 12, X minus 12. Now, what have we done so far? We multiplied, we have factored. Now we have to do the divide step. All right, what does that mean? Whatever number you multiply by, you've got to go back and divide both numbers by that number. All right, so that's divide. Now R means reduce. That can reduce by 3. So that's going to be minus 4 over 3. And that's the same thing, 4 over 3. That's the reduce. What does that M stand for? It stands for move. Move that 3 back in front. Move that 3 back in front. That number, that answer is the factored form. But some of you may have noticed that if it's the same thing twice, you could write it like this. Write it once with a square on the outside. So that's example 3. Either one of those is correct. You can write it either way. Now, finally, example 4. This one has a greatest common factor. How do you know? Is there a number that divides into 8, 34, and 30? Yes. A 2. What's the smallest exponent on the x's? 3, 2, 1. The smallest is an x. So we're going to put 2x on the outside. We got to figure out what's left on the inside. So divide all 3 of them by 2x. All right, that's going to give me 4x squared plus 17x minus 15. All right. Now pretend like the 2x. Just cover that up. We're going to write down, my father drives a red motorcycle. Okay. Let's see. First, we're going to take the 4 off and multiply it by the number on the end. That's going to give me 60. Again, just pretend like the 2x is not there. We'll put it back at the end. All right, now we did the multiply step. Now we need to do the factor. That means make the x, put negative 60 up here, negative 17 down there. Can you think of two numbers that multiply to 60 that might come out to 17? If you think about it, 20 times 3 gives you 60, and you can make that come out to negative 17. How? If you make the 20 negative. So that's how I'm going to factor that. It's going to be x minus 20 and x plus 3. You're not done. We need to do the divide step. What did you multiply by? You multiplied by 4. So you got to go back and divide by 4. So we did that. Now we have to reduce. 20 over 4 reduces to 5. And 3 over 4 does not reduce at all. Any denominator that's left moves back in front. There was no denominator left on this one. This one has a denominator, so that needs to move back in front of the x. But don't forget, remember that greatest common factor you took out? That needs to stay in front. In fact, that should have stayed in front all the way. but that is your factored form right here. We took out the greatest common factor, and then we did the red motorcycle method to get the rest. That's how you factor difficult trinomials.